So, hello there. This is Vanetta Kalu coming to you again with another lesson on the commandments. So, today we're going to focus on commandment number 4. Yes, commandment number 4, which is about the Sabbath. Okay? So, as I said, I'm Vanetta Kalu, and we're going to focus on the commandments. I'm coming to you from the channel Living Holy, teaching you how to live holy in this life. So let's get started. So we're on Exodus chapter 20, verses 8 through 11. And it reads, Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work. Thou, meaning yourself, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Okay, so let's talk about that for a minute. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Why does he have to say remember? Out of all those commandments, 10 of them, only one says remember. And he knew people would have a tendency to forget. Our Elohim knew people would have a tendency to forget that one particular commandment. So that's why he had to tell us to remember. Where do you find that one? In the early, you find that early in the Word. Okay, you find it in Genesis chapter 2, verse 1, which says, "Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made. And he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made." Let's not get caught up in the semantics of heavens with an S, heaven without an S. That's moot. Right now, that is moot. So we just want to know that he created the Sabbath way back in Genesis. So where did he even get that idea of the Sabbath from? The angels must have been keeping it in heaven, okay? Which why Lucifer rebelled. He was rebelling against the laws of heaven. They had a fight, and then he was kicked out. Bam, he was kicked out and brought to this earth. So from then, he's had a problem with the Sabbath. He's had a problem in trying to keep people from uh, resting on this day and observing the Sabbath. So that's why in here, Exodus chapter 20, verse 8, God had to tell people, remember the Sabbath day. To do what? To keep it holy. Now, holy. We've been going over holiness, so you can see some of my other videos on holiness, because God gave me the mandate to teach you how to live holy. And holiness and profanity does not go together, okay? So to keep it holy. How do you keep it holy? He goes on to say, 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. Take note from him. Take note from me, your Elohim. I created the world in 6 days. I did so much more than you do. You're doing in your little 6 days, okay? And I finished it by the 6th day, and I kept the Sabbath. And I'm letting you know you can do it too. So I gave you the first example. So God is saying, I'm not telling you to do anything that I did not do, okay? Number one. Now, 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day of the week, whereas Sunday is the first, then you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, okay, which is the Sabbath. Okay, that's the name he gave it, Sabbath. Seventh day of the week, Sunday being the first day, Monday being the second. You have some of these crazy calendars out there telling you that Monday is the first day of the week, trying to justify Sunday being called the Sabbath. That ain't so. It ain't been. We're going to read some other literature, okay? Some historical literature. But right now we're going to focus on this, get through this verse right here, this text. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work. Thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant. Yes, your servant gets the day off. Your maid servant, they get the day off too. Okay, they have to observe the Sabbath too. They get a day of rest as well. Okay, nor thy cattle. Yes, thy cattle get a day off. Thy ox, thy ass. Yes, they are supposed to get a day off too. Thy dog, thy cat, thy pig, thy rat. Yes, they get a day off too. Okay, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. Yes, if you have somebody coming to visit you, to live with you or whatever, thy stranger, yes, they take the day off too. You're coming up in this house, even if you're just coming to visit me, you're not working on the Sabbath in my house, okay? So you have to take your rest too, okay? And if you have a business and you observe the Sabbath, yes, your workers are supposed to take the day off too. So your business establishment is supposed to close down on the Sabbath as well, such as mine. From Friday sundown or Friday at 3 o'clock, I close up my business. So that way I have time to prepare for the Sabbath. And then usually anyway, by the time Sabbath comes, by the time Friday evening comes, it's like my whole body changes. Like, I gotta rest. I love it. But anyway, that rest is so sweet. It's a different kind of rest that comes on your body. A different kind of tiredness, okay? For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is. Yes, the whales, the everybody, the everything, the birds, the eagles. He made it all. And then he rested. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Here in Genesis, he says sanctified it. So they mean the same thing. Okay. So now let's go here and look at Isaiah chapter 58 and verse 13. It reads, if thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, meaning from doing thine own pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of the Lord, honorable, and shalt honor him, not doing thine own ways, nor finding thine own pleasure, nor speaking thine own words. 14, then shalt thou delight thyself in the Lord your Elohim, and I will cause thee to ride upon the high places of the earth, and feed thee with the heritage of Jacob, thy father. For the mouth of the Lord has spoken it. It sounds like there's a promise in that to me. So when you keep the Sabbath, there is a promise that God makes for those who keep the Sabbath. Yes. Okay. Calling it a delight, holy of the Lord, honorable. Don't speak thine own words, doing all kinds of work. The key thing here is work. Okay, that's the key. The key to keeping the Sabbath is not working on it. So how do you keep the Sabbath? How do you keep the Sabbath? Okay. There was a time in my life where I think I mentioned this a little earlier. I said I stopped work at 3. So I would do, we call Thursday preparation day. So by Thursday, well, basically from Sunday, I'm trying to figure out when I'm going to have and do the next Sabbath. Okay. So Thursday is when you get it all together. You do your shopping, you do your preparation, you do it all on Thursday, or you do it and you finish it all by Friday Some people go up to the edge of the Sabbath. Going up to the edge of the Sabbath means um, working up until if sun sets at 8:30, you're working and getting stuff up done until 8:30. I like to get done at least an hour before that the sun sets, that by time wise before the sunset, and that way I have that time to just coast the Sabbath in. Sometimes I finish by 3 o'clock, so I like to finish my work by 3, do my little extra errands that I have not done, and get that done after maybe 2 hours or so before Sabbath, so that I can just sit down and coast the Sabbath in, so I can watch the sunset. That is just the most awesome thing. And then I know that I'm not alone. There are other people that's just as strict about the Sabbath, or that just loves the Sabbath as well and just coasted in. And then there are other, then I know I'm with the angels in heaven. They've ceased their work. Um, I guess their major work, they still have to write down everything we think, do, and say, but they are not, they're engaged in the Sabbath. So I believe they take the Sabbath off as well. They probably have to, in some capacity, do their worship and get their worship in of the Father. Okay, take that time. So they're not doing any servile work. You're not doing any counting your money. You're not going to the stores. You're not bothered in society. So you get away from those things that are stressing you out, that are causing just misery and pain. So you have to get away from all that. Get away from that stuff on the Sabbath. Doing thine own pleasure, going to parties, you know, just stuff that is takes your focus off God, takes your focus off good things. Now you can do good things on the Sabbath. Yes, you can do good things. I'm gonna read you some of that, some scriptures. So there are different things that you can do. Like yesterday, for instance, today's a Sunday. So yesterday, for instance, on Sabbath, we went to the beach. And Jesus went to the beach, and taught and stuff from the beach, from bodies of water. So we went to the beach. Now we weren't running around playing football and volleyball. No, we didn't do all that. We rested at the beach. We got in the water. Some of us got in the water, got our feet wet, cooled down because it was very hot. The sand was blistering hot. So you dipped your feet in the water. We had our devotions out there. So yes, we did take our Bible and we did have our devotional thought and stuff done that day, yesterday. So we had a good time just relaxing, relating, and releasing, just releasing the stress of the day, or you're just in a nice environment, just enjoying. So that was good. That's, ways you can enjoy the Sabbath. Sometimes I get with a girlfriend. So she and I, we've cooked the day before. So we get together and we just relax and we eat and we study different things on the Sabbath together, sharing our thoughts, praying. Okay, sometimes we do Friday night. I would have sometimes a group come over on Friday night and we have Bible study. And then I have a walking group. I go walking with a group and we find different beautiful parks in Maryland. And oh my gosh, we found some beautiful parks. And then we go walking and we are relating, we're talking. No, not about money, not about the stresses. But okay, how was your week? How was your day? Blah, blah, blah. But we don't go, if there's a problem, let me pray for that. Let's pray for that. Let's ask God about it. So, we keep things focused on the Elohim. We just enjoy the nature. The nature, oh my gosh, being around bodies of water, just love it. Around trees, you're breathing the fresh air. You're just releasing your problems into the atmosphere. No hustle, no bustle. Okay, so that's different ways you can, or just sleep. Just lay down and chill. Especially if you had a long week, just laying down, chilling. And with this COVID and all that and the lockdown, then you can go to church online on Sabbath. You can go to 3 and 4 and 5 churches. Enjoy different praise teams and stuff. So all that is good. So those are some of the things we do to keep the Sabbath. So let's see what our big brother had to say about the Sabbath and things he did. So Matthew 12:1. At that season, Jesus went on the Sabbath day through the grain fields, and his disciples were hungry, and he began to pluck ears to eat. So he gave an example. Yes, you can eat. You're hungry, you feed. Okay. not working. He just plucked it because it wasn't working. He didn't have to go dig up until the ground to get the ears of corn. He just plucked it off the grain, the stalk, and he didn't go cook it. You eat it. And I've done raw corn, cut it up in the salad. Oh my gosh, that tastes so good. But anyway, so yeah, I could see them eating the raw corn, and that's where I got that from. So I'm like, oh, they ate it raw. Okay, let me try it. So and but the Pharisees, and in Matthew 12:2, but the Pharisees, when they saw it, said unto him, Behold, thy disciples do that which is not lawful to do upon the Sabbath. Jesus said, hey, I made the Sabbath for you, not you for the Sabbath. All right? So chill. So the priests, the Pharisees, then, they had all these different laws and rules to make it hard. You know what I mean? So Jesus said, Matthew 12:5, or have ye not read in the law that on the Sabbath day the priests in the temple profane the Sabbath and are guiltless? Because they had to do their Sabbath duties. So they are keeping the Sabbath and they're doing a different type of work. So some people try to make it so strict or put extra rules and laws in there that God didn't ordain. And Matthew 12:8, Jesus said, for the Son of Man is the Lord of the Sabbath. So he came to give us an example of what to do. Now, Matthew 12:10, and behold, a man having a withered hand, and they asked him, saying, is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath day? That they might accuse him. So they're always looking for a way to trap. You know how some people are always trying to find you're doing good, and they try to find a way to trap you, to accuse you, to say you're a hypocrite, to throw your stuff back in your face. You got those kind of people, and those are Pharisees, those are hypocrites, okay? Trying to make things harder for other people, okay? So, and Jesus rebutted and said unto them, what man shall there be of you that shall have one sheep, and if this fall into a pit on the Sabbath day, will he not lay hold on it and lift it out? So you mean to tell me you so stupid? You're going to leave your sheep in there? You so strict, you so holy, you're going to leave your sheep in there to suffer? How good is that on the Sabbath? No. And on verse 12, how much then is a man of more value than a sheep? Wherefore it is lawful to do good on the Sabbath day. Okay? So he's like, doing good on the Sabbath day, there's no law against that. You're guiltless to do good on the Sabbath. You're not profaning the Sabbath, not doing of your own pleasure, going shopping, having a party. It's all about you. You're not relieving suffering. And so you go, oh, we had the party because we were relieving the suffering. No, there's a difference. Okay, I know it's only semantics, but there is a difference. So Matthew 24:20, there's coming a time on this world where we may have to run or do different things when there's tribulation. Back in the old world where there was tribulation. And that reads, and pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath. Because then it's about your own pleasure. You're running away from evil. You're trying to save yourself. It's not about God, okay? And it makes it harder for you. Matthew 28:1. Now late on the Sabbath day, as it began to dawn toward the first day of the week, came Mary and Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre. So they went to see Jesus' sepulchre. That was after his death. I'm not reading the whole thing. I'm just reading. I just searched Sabbath. Mark 1, verse 21. And they go into Capernaum, and straightway on the Sabbath day he entered into the synagogue and taught. So it shows that Jesus went to church on the Sabbath, or the synagogue, or to study on the Sabbath, okay? And let me see, is there anything else? And then here, Mark chapter 2, verse 27, and Jesus said unto them, and Yeshua said unto them, the Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath. Okay? So it is made for us to have a day of rest, to have a day to recreate, to have a day to heal, to have a day to relax. And then Mark 3:2 says, and they watched him, whether he would heal a particular man on the Sabbath day, that they might accuse him. And again, he answered, is it lawful on the Sabbath day to do good or to do harm, to save a life or to kill? So he's like, you tell me. And then he gave both sides of the coin, but then they didn't have a rebuttal. They held their peace. Mark 6:2 says, and when the Sabbath was come, Yahshua began to teach in the synagogue, and many hearing him were astonished, saying, whence hath this man these things? Okay. And what is the wisdom that is given unto this man? And what means such mighty works wrought by his hands? Okay. And when evening was now come, because it was the preparation, that is the day before the Sabbath. That's Mark 15:42. So they call them preparation day, the day before the Sabbath, is when you get prepared, when you do that which you need, you do to make sure you're not working on the Sabbath. You're not doing all that hustle and bustle. There are times when even I myself may not have gotten it all in because I started too late, because something came up at work and it pushed everything, back. And then I had to go up upon the edges of the Sabbath. We call it going upon the edges of the Sabbath, when like Sabbath said at 8:30 and you're just finishing everything at 8:30, you know. I finally got in my car. I've got it done. And now I'm in my car 8:30, maybe 8:31. You're going up upon the edges of the Sabbath. And then you get home. And then, you still got to do little things. And you're like, oh, forgive me, forgive me, forgive me, forgive me, forgive me, stuff like that. I repent, I repent, I repent. So that's it. So for that area and about the Sabbath. Now, there's some things I wanted to read. Okay, so I'm going to read to you from the Church of God International in Tyler, Texas. And this reads, I wanted to bring some history into this, okay? Who changed the Sabbath to Sunday is a question that most people have of this whole thing. So why do people go to church on Sunday? It's nowhere in the Bible. Nowhere in the Bible. I read how Jesus got up and taught on the Sabbath, went to synagogue on the Sabbath as he was wont to do. Okay? So why, how, when did it change? So that is the question. That's the $1,000,000 question. I should say the $1,000,000,000 question of all time. Who changed the Sabbath to Sunday? So I'm going to just read some of this. It's long, but I'm going to try to read some of it. And I'll just skip over some things, okay? There can be no doubt that Christ, his disciples, and the first century Christians were Jews, okay? Were Jews from Judea, okay? They were Hebrews, okay? That they kept Saturday the seventh-day Sabbath. Yet today, most of the Christian professing world keep Sunday, the first day of the week, calling it the Sabbath. Who made this change and how did it occur? No serious student of the scriptures can deny that God instituted the Sabbath at creation and designated the seventh day to be kept holy. And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made. Genesis 2:2-3. It was later codified as the fourth commandment in Exodus 28-11. The Word of God makes it expressly clear that Sabbath observance is a special sign or mark. Now, I know you heard about this mark of the beast. A lot of people think the vaccination and all these things are the mark of the beast. But the mark of the beast is Sunday worship versus Sabbath worship. Okay? The Word of God makes it expressly clear that Sabbath observance is a special sign or mark between God and his people. Okay? There is also no uncertainty that Christ, his disciples, and the first century Christians kept the Sabbath as commanded, the day we now call Saturday. Okay, so days of the week, they used to be numbers. Seventh day, of the week. Now, everything has been changed. Everything's been given names, unified calendars and stuff. So they now call the seventh day of the week or Sabbath was the original name, now Saturday, Saturn's day. So Saturday, because of the worship, the planets and the sun and stuff like that. So Sunday, worship of the sun, Saturday, and worship Sunday is the worship of the moon, the sun god Ra. So you're not even worshiping a god on Sunday. You're worshiping the sun, a sun god Ra, a deity that comes from ancient Egyptian culture, starting with Semiramis is the name, Nimrod's wife, who had a child outside of after he died. So I guess to cover herself up. So that's in a whole nother story for a whole nother day. Um, and that is where Christmas and Easter and all that stuff comes out of this one little scenario situation. But anyway, is there any biblical support for Sunday observance? There is absolutely no New Testament text stating that God, Jesus, or the apostles changed the Sabbath to Sunday. Not a text, not a word, not even a hint of suggestion. If there were, those chapters and verses would be loudly heralded by Sabbath opposers, okay? So, people use what they can. So there is nothing for them to use. So, and they've looked, people have looked, okay? They have looked hard. The Pharisees and scribes would have insisted that Paul or any other person even suggesting such a thing be stoned to death. Them Pharisees, for breaking the Sabbath. This would have been a much larger issue than the controversy over circumcision. So there's no mention of it. It's a brand new thing. Okay, it's a brand new thing. The self-righteous Pharisees had already falsely accused Christ of breaking the Sabbath because he violated the added man-made rules and traditions they placed upon the Sabbath. And those things that I've read in Mark and Matthew. The total absence of any such controversy over a change in the day of worship is one of the best evidences showing the apostles and other New Testament Christians did not change the day. On the contrary, we have a record of many Sabbaths that Paul and his traveling companions kept long after the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And you can read them. Acts 13, 14 and 27, 42 to 44, 15, 21, 16, 13, 17, 2, and 18, 4. Then you have Acts 13, 42 to 44 is especially significant in that Paul and Barnabas, when speaking at a Jewish synagogue, were invited to speak again the next Sabbath. This would have been Paul's golden opportunity to tell the people to meet with him the next day, rather than waiting a whole week for the Sabbath. But on the next Sabbath, a whole week later, almost the whole city of Jews and Gentiles alike gathered to hear the word of the Lord. Yet today, most of the Christian professing world keeps Sunday, the first day of the week, calling it the Sabbath. The question arises then, who changed the Sabbath to Sunday, and how did it occur? The answer may amaze you. Okay, so the Bible prophesied many centuries earlier that the time would come when men would think to change times and laws. Daniel chapter 7 verse 25. Many Bible prophecies are dual in nature, that is, they have a type and an antitype, an early and a latter fulfillment, those speaking specifically of the soon coming of the Antichrist. We can see the forerunner type documented in history. Yes, and Daniel says people would seek to change the times and laws. So Daniel 7:25 reads, "And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and a times and a dividing of times." So some things have already happened, and some things are yet still to happen. But one thing that has happened, the laws of God were changed, and they were made to none effect. So that's why people are keeping Sunday instead of Sabbath. Okay? Now, the watering down of the Sabbath in the first 300 years. The Christians during the apostolic era from about 35 to 100 AD kept Sabbath on the designated seventh day of the week for the first 300 years of Christian history, when the Roman emperors regarded themselves as God. Go figure. Christianity became an illegal religion, and God's people were scattered abroad. His people had several scatterings throughout their history, and this is one reason why they were scattered again. And this is because of them being Jews, them keeping the Sabbath. Keeping the Sabbath was always a problem for other people, the Gentiles. Okay, Judaism, however, was regarded at that time as legal as long as they obeyed Roman laws. Thus, during the apostolic era, Christians found it convenient to let the Roman authorities think of them as Jews, which gained them legitimacy with the Roman government. However, when the Jews rebelled against Rome, the Romans put down their rebellion by destroying Jerusalem in AD 70 and then again in AD 135. Obviously, the Roman government's suppression of the Jews made it increasingly uncomfortable for Christians to be thought of as Jewish. Because by then you had your Catholics or your Christian, and then you had your Jews. And then Jews were the first Christians. So then you had your Christianity, which was Jewish, and they kept Sabbath. And then you had your Catholics, but they were known as something else at that time, and they kept Sunday. Okay, you had your pagans that kept Sunday. So you had two. At that time, Sunday was a day of rest of the Roman Empire, whose religion was Mithraism. So that's the name of the other. You had your pagans, you had your Mithraism, which was Sunday worship, which is a form of sun worship, observing the sun god Ra. And since Sabbath observance is visible to others, some Christians in the early 2nd century sought to distance themselves from Judaism by observing a different day, thus blending into the society around them. Yes, we stand out. We're going to church on the Sabbath. We are resting. We're not going to the parties and doing the different things that other people do on Saturday. So therefore, you stand out because you're going to say, oh, I can't do that. I don't go to this. I don't do that on the Sabbath. Okay. So it's a problem for some people. When they have their stuff, they want you to come. So you stand out. Okay. It's visible. Sabbath observance, like I said here, it's visible to others. Even though Sunday worship is visible. So Sunday worship is visible to us. Sabbath worship is visible to them. But if the majority does one thing and you do something else, then you're going to stand out even more. During the empire-wide Christian persecutions under Nero, Maximum, Diocletian, Galerius,